Hi guys, this is the third video on Swift in Module 3 of the Introduction to iOS Development class. At the end of last time, my playground was misbehaving again in terms of implicitly unwrapping an optional variable. So let me go back and try again. What I was trying to do with my variable x5, which is an optional integer, was first of all to show you how it doesn't cause an error if you try to look up something that doesn't exist, and then show you what happens when you look up something that does exist. Now, if I want, but I can't go ahead and just use x5 as a regular integer variable. It's an optional integer, which is a different type. So if I go back up to the beginning, I find a variable I declared as a regular integer, y. Let's try to assign x5 to y. And doesn't like it. Error of value, optional type int not unwrapped. Did you mean to use exclamation mark or question mark? And if I want to unwrap that integer, that is if I want to declare that it has a value that I'm positive it does, then that works. And in fact, I'll get a 4 there if I can print y. And I get the right result down here in the output for that. So that's all good. And the type, what's happening here is the type system is guaranteeing me that I don't have I'm not going to have a runtime error from trying to dereference a null pointer. Now, there's one more. There's a different type called an implicitly unwrapped optional that allows me to sort of get as close as I can to a regular variable in a language like C++ or Java. So I'm going to declare x6 as with an exclamation mark, an implicitly unwrapped optional. And what I'm going to do with that is now, if I want to assign to x6, what happens when I look up something in my dictionary? I see that works. A 1 is the return value there, but I can, if I assign y to x6, that just works. That's fine because of the implicitly unwrapped nature. What that means is it's an implicit variable. It doesn't always have to have a valid value, but I'm gonna assert to you, compiler and runtime package, that every time you use this variable, it will have a valid value, and I don't want to have to put an exclamation mark there every time I do it. We've seen this already once in an iOS project. You'll notice that the variable declarations we made for outlet variables all had an exclamation mark at the end. They're all declared as implicitly unwrapped optionals because at the time when that class is instantiated, the outlets don't have values because the outlet hasn't been synced up with the storyboard and the user interface yet. So it has to be some kind of an optional because there are time periods when it doesn't have a value. But yet, we don't want to have to go about putting an exclamation mark every time we reference the optional throughout the code. So implicitly unwrapped optional is the right kind of a variable to use there. I'll warn you, if you're playing around with implicitly unwrapped optionals in Swift, it may prove frustrating to you. I actually, this is about the 20th take on this video to find a way that with this version of Xcode and my hardware, things didn't lock up as I was fooling around with optionals and unwrapped optionals and implicitly unwrapped optionals. There are a few other ways you can check to see if if an optional is safe or not. You could do something like, I haven't talked about control flow structures yet, but it would be perfectly legal to say something like, if x6 unwrapped is not equal to nil, do something or other. And you see that doesn't give me any syntax error. I'm not doing anything with it, but it's legal syntax. Another thing you can do is sort of combine the let construct, which makes a constant. If let, let me come up with a new variable name. I'm pretty sure that's safe. If let x7 equals x5. What that's going to do is only run this code if, in fact, x5 is not nil. Equivalently, if I need to somehow change x7, I can do that, and that's okay also. Another operator related to optionals, if an optional happens to be nil, you can do something like question mark, question mark. That's going to assign the value to of 5 to x5 if it happens to be nil. It's not, so it's going to leave its value alone, I believe, at 4. And while we've made some progress, it looks like once again I've somehow managed to lock up my playground. So let me stop and restart that. And in the next video, we're going to look at control flow structures in Swift.